Here's a devastating stat. Are you ready for a devastating stat?
Hit me.
Hold on. Leafs outscored 12-2 at home in the final 3 games. Mm-hmm. In what other market, league, whatever, with fans who care, is that going to be okay? Brad Marchand, career game 7 points versus the Leafs. 5. Matthews and Marner, career combined game 7 points with the Leafs. 5. That's from Sportsnet stats.
The Leafs move heaven and earth to keep them together.
Matthews had a goal in this series. Marner had a goal in this series. Marner had 2 shots in the final 5 games. Tavares had no points outside of the 1 game he had 2 goals. 0 points. 0 points.
Do you got Willie in there?
Do you want to do Willie?
No, I got him. Don't worry, Adam. I prepared it on my phone on the train on the way in here. Because Matthews and Marner and Tavares, like, losing their production hurt. Losing Willie's production is what killed them.
That's devastating.
It's devastating because, like, he got them through the Ottawa series. Like, I'm looking at game 1, goal and an assist. Game 2, assist. Game 3, assist. Game 4, 2 assists. Game 5, no points, -3. No one looked good that night. And then in the deciding game, 2 goals, 1 assist +1.
Crazy.
Legitimately unreal over the course of the series against Ottawa. Game 1 against Florida, 2 goals, 1 assist, they win. 1 goal, they win. 2 assists, but they lose game 3, a game where they had a 2-0 lead and a 3-1 lead. That is the one that got away. And that was the last point he had. No points -1, no points -1, no points -1. Losing William Nylander's production was the beginning, middle, and end of this series.
So let's go for the ramifications of the game for each player. We'll start with the least interesting, which is William Nylander. He'll be back next year. He signed a long-term deal. He loves it in Toronto. He was amazing efforts in the first round, some good stuff in the second round. He was horrific in game 5 and horrific again in game 7.
Completely invisible. Like he just wasn't a factor.
And also, not a factor and not, I know when William Nylander's dialed and I know when he's not. I've watched a lot of William Nylander hockey. So have you guys. So has everybody listening. We know what he looks like when he's going to take a game over, and we know what he looks like when he just doesn't have it. And I don't know if it's, I think some people have unfairly, coaches specifically, have unfairly labeled it as he doesn't give a shit. I think the point is he does give a shit, but I think sometimes he just doesn't have it.
You said it earlier. They all care.
They all
like
care.
Berube said it, and you're referencing it. Like, they all care. So that's where I think the Berube quote comes into play here is, I don't understand what they lose when they care, but their body can't then just do the thing that they've already done and shown. Whatever that mental gap they have. I don't know if the Leafs this offseason need to take every dollar they made through these playoff games that they had and just invest in sports psychologists for the entire room.
I think so.
Because it's 100% a mindset.
White noise machines. I don't know. Like, you've made enough money. Like, you could probably, like, look at the schedule when it comes out in July. Set aside the important games. Don't let fans in.
Okay.
Don't let them in.
I think...
No, it's your cross to bear. It's your burden. And you have the power. Just say no to the money. Just say no.
Willie in game 7 and like, I don't think he had a really good game 6 either, even though like they handled things. I think
he didn't have
like
a good games 4 through 7.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but like, I don't think it's because he doesn't care about performing and winning these games. I don't know where it comes from with any of the players, where they all obviously care a lot, but they can't execute on what they know.
Austin Matthews, second most boring. He'll be back next year, unless he requested a trade or something like that, and the Leafs could still say no. Those two guys seem to be the guys that the Leafs are going to build around going forward. The other two guys...
On Austin Matthews, I think there's a conversation to be had at some point in this tenure as a Toronto Maple Leaf that is still premature to give him the captaincy.
I would love to know who he was talking about when he talks about passengers, because my first thought was Willie.
Interesting.
I'd love to know who he was talking about.
Well, I think most of the team. The stats bear out most of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
you know
going to
what?
get clipped by those really shitty aggregator sites. Like I'm saying, it's Matthews talking about Willie. I don't know who the player is, but my first thought was
I think it's most of the team, and I'm sure he means himself too.
Yep.
If you again, we could go back to play the clip again. I think he inferred basically everybody.
I would have liked him to win in one of these games before getting that C from Tavares.
Okay.
Or
I would have liked Tavares to win in one of these games before getting the C.
I would have liked them to not have a captain. Like they don't execute in the moments when you need players to perform at their highest level, and I've never seen an organization reward people for doing nothing.
How about this
no
one? How about
letters?
this one? How
No
about
letters.
No, not no letters. How about this one? We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, so let's have Matthews and Marner split the assistant captaincy for 4 years.
Yeah, that's the
We
thing that
wouldn't
happened.
want to make anyone uncomfortable now, would we?
Yeah.
This is the issue I have. This is a team. Babcock, and Steve reminded me of this on the train in. Babcock said we want to make it a safe place to play, meaning you want players to come here and feel protected from the fans who, oh man, they like it. And we don't want big bullies like Mark Masters and Chris Johnson coming to the game and making these guys feel uncomfortable, or lest they be held accountable to the actions on the ice.
Hey, Lil Ken Campbell's there.
Ken Campbell is there. And, Steve Simmons makes his obligatory one-time appearance, to ask a snide question or two. And Steve, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. It's
do.
okay.
Oh,
listen,
him.
you've made millions, I'm sure you've made millions of dollars over your career. Steve's got an angle, and that's his angle, not you. Other Steve. I'm looking
You
at
had me
this.
up to the millions of dollars. I was like, wait, what?
I'm sure he has made millions.
Yeah.
So here's the part where it gets interesting, boys. I'll go with the third one, and this is more interesting. It's John Tavares. As I told you, John Tavares had 2 goals in the series, nothing else. They happened in the same game. There are 7 games in the series. This is a player who reportedly is asking between $7 and $7.5 million.
No.
The Leafs are not comfortable with anything more than about 5. And those are the reports that are out there. That is the scuttlebutt. And I'm looking in this and I'm wondering, are they even comfortable with 5? And it's not because John can't go out and put together another great regular season where he's almost a point a game.
Sure.
But I am looking at this and going, okay, it's not that these 4 players singularly, and the younger guys, especially, Matthews, Marner, Nylander, are not singularly unbelievable talents. But what do we always go back to? It's the mix of people.
Yes.
It's the mix. So if Marner is truly walking, and we'll get to him in a second, if he's truly walking, the mix is still largely the same if you bring 75% of it back.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
I'm like, you can just move on from John Tavares.
Yeah, and he wants to be
it's
here.
done.
If
One of the
he
rare
would
guys that does.
If he would, for me, he's a perfect candidate for a deferred salary sort of contract. If he would take something, I'm talking outrageously cheap. I think 5 is outrageously cheap. Like for what?
But Steve,
what he brings?
what's he bringing you? What's he gonna? What role is he on this team?
Yeah.
That's what you got to look at. If he's third line center, and he is, and you've got your second line center lined up, it's going to happen.
Well,
Then you cannot go into next season with John Tavares as your second line center. You can't go into next season with Domi, Kampf, or Lawton as your third line center.
There's not enough change there.
let's list the centers in the series: Barkov, Matthews, Lundell,
Bennett.
Tavares, Bennett. Okay, so where does Tavares fit in the pecking order there, and why is it 5th?
Yeah,
this is the point.
Even at $5 million, that's not enough change to the roster. It's
Right.
still Matthews and then Tavares, and we've seen that not work. I'd like to see some change here. Do something.
My hesitation there is I don't know about this free agency class. If he signs something cheap, I'm open to it. You can't
have him as second line center.
I think that's fair.
Is that
even
Or it's like a committee middle 6 sort of thing.
But anything is better than what you have, because what you have, doesn't work.
Yes.
So
which
even
is
if
what I've
you're
been
not
thumping for years.
even if you're not a fan of the free agency pool, I don't think that's an excuse.
No.
Even if he's the best free agent that gets to the market on July 1st, he's the best center option out there, he shouldn't be your center because he can't play with the rest of the roster.